Two heads, one tail, yang yin. 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 Two heads, one tail, young yin. We'll start by reading 4 passages from Vitality, Energy, Spirit, a Taoist sourcebook. This comprehensive anthology traces the teaching on the 3 treasures, vitality, energy, and spirit, through the long history of Taoism. Along with brief selections from the classic texts of Lao Tzu and Zhuang Tzu, the book presents a rich selection of tales and sayings from Taoist literature, as well as a broad range of writings from the Complete Reality School. Records of Sayings of Ban Shan. Practitioners should apply effort and use energy to burn away the habits and biased ideas that have accumulated in their minds. Having done this and relinquished what is difficult to relinquish, when the limit of the body arrives, they will be able to let go of it immediately. Whatever is in the mind is unreal. When you clear it all away, you will be unobstructed by vexations. As for external things, nothing is worth keeping the mind on. Things come and go before your eyes, but they are like mosquitoes or gnats. Brush them off and you'll be comfortable. In olden times, there was a Taoist who told his teacher that he had gotten rid of the fire of ignorance. His teacher said that once one has gotten rid of the fire of ignorance, the mind does not stir. Later, the teacher secretly sent someone to test that Taoist. Arriving at his hermitage at nightfall and finding the gate already closed, he knocked at the gate and shouted. As the Taoist answered from inside, his voice already showed a tone of asperity. When he grudgingly opened the door, he was visibly disturbed by the man's coarse behavior. When they got to the hall, the man bounded in without removing his shoes and sat down unceremoniously. At this point, the Taoist became very angry and began to scold the man roundly. The man laughed and said, "I have not acted this way on my own initiative. The teacher had me come here to test your unstirring mind, but even without a test, your condition is obvious. So there's no further need for a test." That Taoist was very much ashamed. He had no reply. Generally speaking, though practitioners may have some accomplishment, they should not be presumptuous and arrogant about it, for they will unexpectedly be found wanting. If they have really reached dispassion, they will have no sense of self-satisfaction. If they feel any pride, this itself proves they are lacking. Furthermore, even if one has reached immovability, there is still something beyond this. There are many kinds of visions practitioners may have in stillness. All of them are productions of the discriminatory consciousness, which appear due to stillness in order to seduce the mind. As an ancient said, appearances are illusions. Even the desire to get rid of them means the discriminatory consciousness is still there. It will then manifest hallucinations to disturb the mind. If the mind remains unmoved and sees as if not seeing, being like open space, not dwelling on anything, these visions will naturally disappear. The Tao is everywhere. The thing is to be able to use it in yourself in a way appropriate to the time. This is all there is to it. But still people's minds are tangled up in objects, and this seriously hinders them. Not knowing what is fundamental, they pursue superficialities. Few people turn back from superficial pursuits. Though they may study, they don't seek the real. Instead, they concoct supernatural visions. People engaged in self-cultivation should avoid discussing others' strengths and weaknesses or right and wrong, as well as the ups and downs of society and all worldly affairs. Do not speak or think about what does not concern you. As soon as you start making judgments, you have obscured yourself. If you concentrate on refining your mind, you should always search out your own faults. Why should you be concerned with others' personal affairs? But since all people usually have some good points, you should emulate them and avoid people's bad points. Beyond this, don't be concerned, and you will gradually reach peace. Conditions have their own order, which doesn't come from human effort. One should accord with what is natural, calmly awaiting direction. Inner work and outer activity are all in one's own mind. If one is able to apply effort and has accomplishment in oneself, whether one acts or not, in any case, one is self-possessed. If the teaching is inactive in public, one should hide and conquer the mind to commune with the celestial. Once the teaching goes into action publicly, outward effort corresponds. If it is in accord with the celestial and corresponds to human needs, effort and activity should be carried out as much as possible. Success depends on the firmness and stability of the mind. The subtleties and practices transmitted by enlightened teachers accorded with the celestial intent. They did not cling to a fragment and consider it the whole Tao. Seen in terms of their traces, the ancients were not the same in behavior or practice, but the subtle basis, the spiritual source, has never differed. It is like the function of the mind being seeing in the eyes, hearing in the ears, speaking in the mouth, thinking in the brain, grasping in the hands, walking in the feet. The functions are not the same, but the substance of mind is not different. The secret message of real teachers is beyond doctrine, specially transmitted. Speech and thought have no access to it. This is the subtlety of the secret communication of the teaching of real people. Great stability. Great stability is the consummation of leaving mundanity, the elementary foundation of arrival at the Tao, the accomplishment of cultivation of tranquility, the completion of maintaining calm. The body is like a dead tree, the mind is like dead ashes. Neither grasping nor rejecting, it is the arrival of utter quiescence. There is no consciousness of stabilization, yet there is total stability. Therefore, it is called great stability. Chuang Tzu said, "Those whose abode is great stability emanate the light of heaven." The abode is the mind. The light of heaven is wisdom. When emptiness and tranquility reach the extreme, then the Tao is present and wisdom arises. Wisdom comes from fundamental essence and is not a personal possession. Therefore, it is called the light of heaven. It is due to pollution and confusion by greed and craving that people become dull and muddled. When people are confused, wisdom does not arise. Once wisdom has arisen, one should treasure it and not let intellectualism damage stability. It is not that it is hard to produce wisdom. What is hard is to have wisdom but not use it. Since ancient times, there have been many people who have forgotten their bodies, but few who have forgotten their names. To have wisdom but not use it is to forget one's name. Few people in the world reach this, so it is considered difficult. If the highly placed can avoid arrogance and the wealthy can avoid extravagance, this is considered freedom from vulgar faults and is a way to preserve nobility and wealth. If one is stable and does not stir, is wise but does not use it, one thereby attains profound experience of true eternity. Zhuangzi said, "To know the Tao is easy, not to speak of it is hard. To know but not say is that whereby one becomes divine. To know and speak of it is that whereby one becomes human." People of old were divine, not human. He also said, "Those who cultivate the Tao in ancient times used calmness to nurture knowledge. Knowledge arose in them, but they didn't make anything of it. This is called using knowledge to nurture calm. Knowledge and calm nurture each other and emerge from the fundamental essence in harmony with universal principle. Calmness and knowledge are stability and wisdom. Harmony and universal principle are the Tao and its power. Having knowledge but not using it, one is peaceful and calm. When this builds up for a long time, it spontaneously develops one's Tao power. One will naturally reach a point where one is not startled even by thunder and lightning so powerful as to split a mountain, not frightened even by swords clashing right in front of one's face. One sees fame and fortune are fleeting and knows the cycle of birth and death is like a running sore. If the will is exercised undividedly, then it solidifies the spirit. The intangible subtlety of the mind will be inconceivable. Observe the way of heaven, practice the action of heaven. That is all. The way of essence in life is one. It is the way of heaven. The way of heaven is simply the way of yin and yang. If practitioners of the way know the inner subtleties of the way of heaven, and through silent exercise of the light of the spirit, take of the energy of yin and yang, and take over the authority of creation, it is possible thereby to live long and not die. It is possible thereby to have no birth and no death. What is most important is in being able to observe and to practice. What is observation? Observation means to investigate things and to get to know about them. Observation means to make very deep and detailed study. Observation means mental knowledge and spiritual understanding. Observation means turning the attention within to see what's behind consciousness. Observation means not hiding anything from yourself or fooling yourself. And what is practice? Practice means concentrating the mind and focusing the will. Practice means not going too far and not falling short. Practice means effort in personal action. Practice means getting stronger with perseverance. Practice means consistency from beginning to end. To observe the non-doing effect of the way of heaven is sudden enlightenment and is the means of realization of the essence of life. To take up the learning of the doing of the action of heaven is gradual cultivation and is the means of realization of the life of essence. By being able to observe and practice, you use the way of yin and yang to become free from yin and yang. By means of things of the world, you transcend the world. That is to say, you recognize that all there is change, and while intimately understanding vicissitudes of change, you stand somehow apart from them, ultimately free. When essence and life are both realized, mind and phenomena are both forgotten. Transcending the universe, there is eternal subsistence. The two expressions, observing the way of heaven and practicing the action of heaven, are themselves a celestial ladder that can enable people to become enlightened immortals, a great road for saints and sages. Everything outside of this is a sidetrack, seductive but misleading talk. That is why the text says, that is all. Three selves. The purpose of Taoist practice is to cultivate three selves. The first self is the physical body. Although the first self is temporary and unreal, attainment of the way depends on it. Therefore, when inactive, it is best to be calm and light. And for action, it is best to be cultivated through exercise. Breathing exercises, energy induction exercises, yin dao, the course in transformation of the musculature, yi jin ying, and absolute boxing, tai chi chuan, will all do. The second self is the vital spirit. This means using the methods of quiet sitting to refine the substance, in which dark and light are mixed into a pure, serene body of balance and harmony. Single-minded concentration on the infinite whatever one may be doing is what is called the supreme state in which even nothingness does not exist. The third self is the fundamental essence. It neither increases nor decreases, is neither defiled nor pure. It is the true emptiness that is not empty. When you understand mind and see its essence, only then can you know its original state and be the primordial true master. All beings have the same source. To look back for the fundamental essence is something that both Buddhist and Taoist classics discuss. Our hexagram has all yang yin lines. So our first trigram or bottom trigram we'll read as broken, 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 or open, open, open. This is the trigram Kun, earth. Kun is earth, open to receive and support what comes to her, providing for its full development. She makes inspiration manifest, gives it form, and sustains its growth. Earth is available to be used, ready to lend her strength to the work without limit. She protects and accepts all things in their totality, present and potential, in an unconditional embrace. Earth is mother, found in the southwest in the harvest time of late summer and early autumn. So when you have Kun, earth, above Kun, earth, that forms the hexagram. 2, earth. We don't have any changing lines, so that means that our primary hexagram, or really our only hexagram, is highly emphasized. In the beginning, we will read from I-ming's Taoist I-ming, which he wrote in 1796 as a Taoist adept. And Thomas Cleary has translated it. In the beginning, they have short definitions. Hexagram 2 is earth. One of the 4 timeless hexagrams, pure yin, represents receptivity, submission, humility, obedience, yielding, flexibility, stillness, essence, innate capacity. And we'll start by reading the text section and then move on to the commentary section. And this will be answering the general question we bring to the I Ching when we consult the oracle of how can I act in creative relation with the spirits or forces shaping this moment of time? our second, hexagram 2, Earth. With Earth, creativity and development are achieved in the faithfulness of the female horse. The superior person has somewhere to go. Taking the lead, one goes astray. Following, one finds the master. It is beneficial to gain companionship in the southwest and lose companionship in the northeast. Stability in rectitude is good. Explanation. Earth is submissive. It means flexible, receptive humility. In the body of the hexagram, all 6 lines are even. This represents pure yin, so it is called Earth. This hexagram represents convergence in yin, whereby the science of cultivating essence practices submission and receptivity and uses the path of flexibility. Nothing is more submissive than Earth. Earth is originally pure yin and cannot produce or develop things. The reason it does produce and develop myriad things is that it is receptive to the yang energy of heaven, producing and developing by progression and recession. This Earth originally does not create or develop. Its achievement of creativity and development lies in its capacity for faithfulness. The receptivity of Earth to heaven cannot be seen, but the receptivity of Earth can be known by observing the submissiveness of a female horse. Female is a general term for the flexibility of yin. Whatever is yin is something is classified as female. A horse is something that travels strongly. When a mare follows a stallion, the mare can go wherever the stallion goes. So though it is gentle, it is also strong. The benefit of the faithfulness of the receptivity of Earth is like the benefit of the faithfulness of the female horse. Human beings receive the yin energy of Earth and take form thereby. So they have this quality of flexible receptivity. When people are born, this quality of flexible receptivity is their innate capacity. When this capacity mixes with temporal acquired conditioning, it is confined by temperament and stained by accumulated habits. So people do not obey what they should obey, and instead obey their desires. So innate capacity turns into artificial capacity. When sages teach people to travel the path of submission, this starts from artificial submission and changes into true submission, returning to the pristine state of unconscious obedience to the laws of God. Therefore, the text says, the superior person has somewhere to go. Taking the lead, one goes astray. Following, one finds the master. Firmness is the master of flexibility. Firmness is able to govern flexibility. Whereas flexibility cannot govern firmness, it just follows the firm obediently. Yielding obedience to strength is not only a matter of the incapable following the capable, reforming error and returning to rectitude, changing wrong and taking to right, maintaining truth and getting rid of falsehood, is all a matter of the human mind submitting to the mind of Tao. This is all represented in terms of the flexible obeying of the firm. Taking the lead, one goes astray, means that when you act through the human mentality, the mind of Tao is buried away. Following human desires, you damage the real by falsehood, losing the master by going astray. Following, one finds the master, means that when you act through the mind of Tao, the human mind is peaceful and quiet, obedient to natural principle, extinguishing falsehood by reality, finding the master and not straying. If people can develop understanding from confusion, make yin follow yang, use the human mind to return to the mind of Tao, use the mind of Tao to govern the human mind, finding the master after they had previously lost it, even if they are stupid, they will become illumined, and even if they are weak, they will become strong. In the path of submission, nothing is greater than Earth. For a symbol of receptivity, nothing is more obvious than the moon. The moon is basically pure yin, with no yang. It meets the sun in the spacious heights, travels to the southwest, the position of Earth, and on the third day of the lunar month gives off a light like a wispy eyebrow, producing the yang spirit within the yin spirit. This is called gaining companionship. On the 15th day, the moonlight waxes full. On the 16th, the sunlight begins to shift away gradually, and the moonlight henceforth begins to wane, producing the yin spirit within the yang spirit. When it reaches northeast, the position of mountain, on the 28th day, the remaining light vanishes. This is called losing companionship. The moonlight appears in the southwest. Yin follows the advance of yang. The moonlight disappears in the northeast. Yin follows the receding yang. When yang advances, the moon brightens. When yang recedes, the moon darkens. The brightening and darkening of the moon also follows the advance and withdrawal of the sun. If superior people practicing the Tao are able to be like the moon following the sun when they travel the path of flexibility by means of submission, then they know what gain and loss are, and they are effective in advancing as well as in withdrawing. What is efficacy? It is effectiveness in submission to what is right, most effective in abiding in faithfulness to rectitude. Only thus is it an auspicious path that is sound in the beginning and sound at the end. Stability in rectitude means resting in what is right. One is at peace because of rectitude and rests in what is appropriate. One aims for the submission of unruliness and rectification of error, cultivating oneself and controlling the mind, getting rid of all seeds of vicious circles, not letting any pollution remain in the mind, being utterly empty, serene and sincere. The human mentality does not arise and the mind of Tao comes into being. After rectitude comes creativity, and while flexible, one is firm, and while receptive, one can be strong. Whatever one creates grows. Whatever grows bears fruit, and the fruits are all good. So the submission and receptivity of abiding in rectitude is no small matter. And how to read the commentary section on our hexagram number 2, Earth. Earth above, Earth below. The configuration of Earth is receptive. Superior people support others with warmth. Earth is the ground. Its quality is receptivity. In this image, Earth is above and below. The earth above is the high places. The earth below is the low places. This is the image of receptivity, the configuration of Earth being high and low. What superior people see in this is that since humans are born with the energy of Earth, they have this earthy quality of receptivity. Because of this, once their intellect is activated, they misuse intelligence and follow what should not be followed. Obeying the temperament, they lose the essence of pure innocence. Inwardly unable to empty themselves, outwardly they cannot admit others. Taking the artificial to be real, taking misery for pleasure, in the end they pass away. Therefore, the wise take as their model the receptivity of Earth, and bear others with warmth. Warmth is the quality of receptivity, which is inner openness and outward genuineness. Only by receptivity can one be open. Only by warmth can one be genuine. Inner openness means emptying the mind. By emptying the mind, one can accept others. Outward genuineness means genuine action. By genuine action, one can respond to others. Accepting others and responding to others is being able to support others. There being no end of people, there is no end to support. One becomes warmer the more support one gives, and one is able to be more supportive as one becomes warmer. The ability of superior people to support others means that superior people have the quality of warmth. However, If one is supportive of others in favorable circumstances, but not in adverse circumstances, this is not called warmth. Strong exertion outwardly without inner openness is not called warmth. The warmth that is supportive of others requires genuine practice, true application, bearing insult and attack, bearing all difficulty, hardship, sickness, and calamity, just as the earth bears the mountains, as the ocean takes in the rivers, as the plants and trees endure injury. Such is the warmth of the earth, such too is the warmth of superior people. This is how the earth bears things, and how the superior person bears things too. The work of cultivating one's nature is summed up in warmth. This is the science of taking earth as a model. We'll also turn to James Dekorne, his site, where he synthesizes several different commentaries and has some really great editor's notes. Him being a practitioner of the Tao himself. He calls Hexagram 2 the magnetic. Other titles might be the receptive, the symbol of earth, submission, the passive principle, field, the flow, responsive service, yin, natural response, and the bearer. I've left a link to his website for our hexagram in the description box below, which I always do, by the way. Judgment. Leg. The magnetic means success through the docility of a mare. If the superior man takes the initiative, he goes astray, but if he follows, he finds his proper lord. It is advantageous to find one's friends in the southwest and to lose them in the northeast. Through a passively firm correctness, there will be good fortune. Blowfold. The passive principle. Sublime success. Its omen is a mare, symbolizing advantage. The superior man has an objective and sets forth to gain it. At first he goes astray, but later finds his bearings. It is advantageous to gain friends in the west and south, but friends in the east and north will be lost to us. Peaceful and righteous persistence brings good fortune. Ritsama/Karcher Field. Spring growing harvesting, female horses trial. A chunsu, or chief son or superior person, possesses directed going. Beforehand delusion, afterwards acquiring. A lord harvesting. Western south acquiring partnering. Eastern north losing partnering. Quiet trial significant. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of the primal structuring power confronted with many forces and obstacles. It emphasizes that giving way in order to serve and yield results, the action of field, is the adequate way to handle it. To be in accord with the time, you are told to yield. Sloughnessy, the flow. Prime receipt, beneficial for the determination of a mare. The gentleman has some place to go, is first lost but later gains his ruler. Beneficial to the southwest to gain a friend, to the northeast to lose a friend. Contented determination is auspicious. Contented determination is auspicious. The image, leg. The capacity and sustaining power of the earth is shown in the magnetic. The superior man supports men and things with his large virtue. Ritsama/Karcher, earth potency, field. A chunsu, or chief son, or superior person, uses munificent actualizing Tao to carry the beings. And to actualize Tao is the ability to follow the course traced by the ongoing process of the cosmos, linked with acquire. D, acquiring that which makes a being become what it is meant to be. Commentary. Confucius/Leg. All things owe their birth to the great originating capacity of the magnetic. It obediently receives the influences of heaven. Its largeness contains and supports all things, and its capacity matches the unlimited power of the dynamic. That would be hexagram 1, which would be all yang lines, all solid. Its comprehension is wide, its brilliance great, and through it all things are fully developed. The mare is a creature of the earth with a limitless power to traverse the land. She is mild and docile, with stamina and capacity for work. Such is the path of the superior man. If he takes the initiative, he loses his way. If he follows, he finds it again. In the southwest, he will walk with his own kind. To lose friends in the northeast means he is well rid of them. The passively firm correctness of the superior man imitates the unlimited capacity of the earth. Leg. The same attributes are ascribed to the magnetic as in the former hexagram to the dynamic, but with a difference. The dynamic originates, the magnetic produces, or gives birth to what has been originated. This figure, made of 6 divided lines, symbolizes the idea of subordination and docility. The superior man described here must not take the initiative, and by following he will find his lord, the subject of the dynamic. The firm correctness is analogous to a mare, docile and strong, but a creature for the service of man. That it is not the sex of the animal which is paramount is plain from the mention of the superior man and his lord. The superior man will bring his friends with him to serve the ruler. The southwest is the direction proper for the magnetic. The northeast is the direction proper for the trigram of the mountain, hence a direction of obstruction and impasse, the opposite of magnetic receptivity. Thus the injunction to seek friends who are receptive and shun those who are recalcitrant. Concerning the image, Lin Hsi Yon says, "The superior man in his single person sustains the burden of all under the sky. The common people depend on him for their rest and enjoyment. Birds and beasts and creeping things and the tribes of the vegetable kingdom depend on him for the fulfillment of their destined being. If he be of a narrow mind and cold virtue, how can he help them? Their hope in him would be in vain." Notes and paraphrases. Judgment. The ego bears the burden of the work. Success is found in compliance with the will of the self. The superior man supports the work through its many transformations. In terms of the symbolism of the work, the second hexagram clearly shows the proper role of the ego as one of receptivity to the will of the self. The sexual male-female metaphor must be interpreted as one of polarity. The ego, inhabiting a physical body, is the psychological link which connects the material dimension of space-time with the world of thought where the self resides. To be receptive to the influence of the self is to allow its energy to work through the ego body to attain its purpose. This earth-like receptivity is seen as a feminine quality, as the heavenly dynamic force emanating from the self is seen as a masculine. Earth means the body in space-time, and heaven means the realm of thought transcending space-time, the pleroma of the Gnostics, which Jung referred to as the collective unconscious. The concept is also found in the Kabbalah. A quote from P.F. Case in the Book of Tokens, "I am the door of life, the passage from the world of ideas into the world of form. Now, as Deleth, the door, I present myself as the portal, through which life, eternal and unbounded, entereth the realm of temporal and limited creation. I am the fruitful womb, whence all creatures have their birth." The message in the judgment clearly indicates the ego's proper role. If the superior man takes the initiative, he goes astray. This is supplemented by the image of a docile mare which uncomplainingly bears its load. Indeed, during certain phases of the work, it becomes painfully obvious that the ego really is just a beast of burden. The self is beyond our full comprehension, and at times it uses us as if we were an expendable tool, which, to a certain extent, we are. Only by realizing that our existence in space-time consists mostly of illusions and that the self is the only real thing in our lives, can we come to accept the work as the duty we were created to perform. Suggestions for meditation. Compare the ego-self relationship in hexagrams 1 and 2 with that in hexagrams 7 and 8. Now turn to I-ming, Walking Your Path, Creating Your Future by Hilary Barrett. She calls hexagram 2 Earth. How are you being guided? Key questions. How can you lend your strength? Oracle. Earth, from the source, creating success. The constancy of a mare bears fruit. A noble one has a direction to go. At first, confusion, later gains a master. Fruitful in the southwest, gaining partners. In the northeast, losing partners. Peaceful constancy brings good fortune. Earth is first described in the same words as the creative force of hexagram 1 because they are partners in the flow of creation. Creation unfolds from the original vital energy, creating success with an ongoing exchange between spirit and daily work, flowing through to fruition in Earth through the constancy of a mare. The mare is strong, tireless, and incomparably fast, and she is acutely sensitive to the subtlest cues. When you have a mare's constancy, you will be steadily loyal to the truth and always alert and responsive to guidance. The noble one has a direction to go. She is purposeful. She has a destination in mind. But this doesn't mean she has her route to it already mapped out. And so at first there is confusion. You set out like a pioneer, open to all the possibilities and find them as many as scattered rice grains. But later, since you have set yourself in motion, you can receive guidance. You gain a master. A master is someone who lights the way. You gain someone or something to be loyal to, where you can find fulfillment in service. Once you have this guiding principle, which may or may not be a person, you begin to follow signs as fluently as the mare. The Zhao people sought out allies in the southwest before venturing into the northeast to face the Shang. There is a balance to be found between joining with like-minded people and following your own calling alone. But gaining allies comes first. Perhaps your individual sense of purpose emerges more strongly when you've learned to work responsibly with others, or responsively, like the mare running with the herd. And when you can spread your senses out to roam southwest and northeast without limit, you will be peacefully at home in the whole earth. Image. Power of the land, earth. A noble one with generous character carries all the beings. Through the power of the land, earth is heaven's partner in bringing the world into being. The sun needs a place to shine, rain a place to fall, and seeds need soil to grow in. Flashes of inspiration need space and time to expand and take shape. Great ideas need work to be realized. The power of the land is to provide everything needed for all things to find their shape. A noble one embodies this power in the deep generosity of her character. She certainly need never worry about the limits of her strength. We will read a chapter from the Tao Te Ching. Once I find 142. And over here we had 15. I wonder if we read that before, but since it was upside down, or right side up, as it were, we will read it. But we'll read them in the order we got them. So 42 first. And this is translated by Jia Fu Fang and Jane English. Chapter 42 of the Tao Te Ching. The Tao begot one, one begot two, two begot three, and three begot the 10,000 things. The 10,000 things carry yin and embrace yang. They achieve harmony by combining these forces. Men hate to be orphaned, widowed, or worthless, but this is how kings and lords describe themselves. For one gains by losing and loses by gaining. What others teach, I also teach. That is, a violent man will die a violent death. This will be the essence of my teaching. Chapter 15. Making my way downtown. Come on. There we go. 15. The ancient masters were subtle, mysterious, profound, responsive. The depth of their knowledge is unfathomable. Because it is unfathomable, all we can do is describe their appearance. Watchful, like men crossing a winter stream. Alert, like men aware of danger. Courteous, like visiting guests. Yielding, like ice about to melt. Simple, like uncarved blocks of wood. Hollow, like caves. Opaque like muddy pools. Who can wait quietly while the mud settles? Who can remain still until the moment of action? Observers of the Tao do not seek fulfillment. Not seeking fulfillment, they are not swayed by desire for change.